Welcome to Doors to Hope and Healing, an inside look at the many facets of work that is happening at the Department of Children and Families, between our staff, the families we serve, and our community partners. My name is Jaqueline Ford. I have had the honor of working for the department for almost 30 years. And although I may be familiar with many of the topics we bring to you, I have invited experts in those fields to help us dispel the myths and misconceptions that can often be barriers to our work. Join us as we open our doors and invite you to have a seat at our table. Thank you all for joining me on the set of Doors to Hope and Healing. Today is actually our 100th show. So it's an exciting day for us, and that means that we've had an opportunity to have 100 shows that have dispelled our myths and misconceptions, and 100 shows where our families have been able to inspire others that are watching by their stories, and an opportunity for us to share education and resources with our viewers. So I thank you all for being on the 100th show. Today we're going to be talking about DCF and private child placement agencies working collaboratively on the training for new people to be foster parents and kinship providers. So it's a real exciting time for the department, and I'm eager to ask you some questions about that so that our viewers can become more aware of the work we're doing to train our families. I think it's really important for us to do that. And I know that the Children's Bureau is funding this grant for us to create this training. So before we get started talking about the training, let's introduce ourselves. Let's begin with you there.
I'm Janet Morcaldi. I am the Program Manager for Functional Family Therapy Foster Care at Boys and Girls Village, which is therapeutic foster care.
Thank you. Welcome.
I'm Lisa Swan. I've been a foster parent for 16 years.
Wow.
I've been training foster parents for the past 5 years. Mm-hmm. I also am a QPI champion, and I serve on the Caregiver Advisory Council.
Wow, and your first time on television.
It is my first time on television.
Thank you.
Very nervous.
For being here. Don't be. And Ryan?
I'm Ryan Williams. I have been with the department for 30 years in various capacities. Most recently, I've been in the foster care division, helping to train foster parents, people to become foster parents. And I'm also the racial justice lead for the foster care unit, as well as a member of the statewide racial justice work group for DCF.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
We've been here same amount of years, 30. I'm going on 31. So it's nice to have someone in that class with me. Okay, so let's begin by talking about why the shift. Why the shift for this new training curriculum?
Well, the current curriculum couldn't be sustained. And we had to make some changes. And what NTDC does is it offers an innovative curriculum that uses a variety of ways to teach it through online research, podcasts, in-person virtual trainings, and it's free, so that's always good.
Yeah. That is definitely a bonus, having something like that for free. What are the components of the National Training and Development Curriculum?
Sure. So there are 3 primary components. Mm-hmm. There is a self-assessment, so foster parents or caregivers can be more aware of the skills that they have, mm-hmm. And skills that they need. There is a in-class component that could be either in person or virtual. And there's also something called right time trainings, which are really exciting. And this is just sort of a resource for foster parents when they have children in their home, mm-hmm. that may have a certain need or issue, or where foster parents need additional skills, or even a review of the skills that they were taught during their training, so they could access these right time trainings online. Wow. And they're trainings for things like parenting children that have been exposed to substances, mm-hmm. Mental health, how to parent children with mm-hmm. mental health considerations, those kind of things.
So very specific
Very
areas.
specific trainings. Not that we don't go over those trainings go over those topics during the training, but this is sort of an extra based on the needs of every specific foster parent.
Another exciting component to the NTDC training is that the implementation of learning through play with Legos, which makes it fun and helps people to relax a little bit, and the trainings also help people the curriculum also helps people to say, you know what, I can do this. It's okay. I get it. Yeah, it's nice.
I like the idea about the self-assessment, because oftentimes the families that are coming forth, have so many skills and experiences before they even enter our doors. So I think that self-assessment is great. When you talk about the virtual and the in-class, do the participants have the option, or it's an option if you choose one of your sessions to be virtual, or is it something that they can decide virtual is just easier for us?
Yeah, so part of that is still being decided. There's going to be an opportunity for virtual, which actually seems to work best for most families, just because you can take the training in your own home, right? Yeah. But there is some value to the in-person piece too. And so we're hoping to sort of offer both, and whatever meets the needs of each family best is what they'll be able to do.
That's great. I mean, everyone is so busy and leading such, busy lives, that to have that option, it almost sounds so inclusive, this training, that, everybody can find a place to be a part of it if they're interested in stepping forward to be a provider.
Absolutely. And Ryan talked about the sort of the practicality of this training, and that's one of the things I love about it. So we give participants a lot of knowledge, again, about trauma, about attachment, child development, all of those things. But the best part about the training is it's very focused on how do you do it? We have the training is divided into themes, and some of the themes are how to create a stable, nurturing, and safe home environment for children. How to parent a child who has a history of sexual trauma. Really sort of those how do you do it, right? What does it look like? The training also gives, it sort of breaks down the topics in a way that isn't scary. It really, especially the subject, the sexual abuse, the mental health, it makes those seem normal. Sort of, it just really breaks it down in a way that everybody can understand and everybody could see. Yeah, I could parent a child like that, or I could, if this happens in my home, I know what to do. I know how to deal with it.
And you're giving them those tools to be
yes,
able to do
absolutely.
that.
There's a piece of the training that is expanding your toolkit, and then there's a practicing your skills piece. There's also a what's it called, a reflection and relevance piece. So after each section of the training, you really have the opportunity to sort of think about what you just learned and how it's going to be relevant to you and your family and the children who come into your home.
That's great. And so expand on that more for me. What are the other benefits to the caregivers for this new training?
One of the benefits is, as Lisa was saying, how the training is structured is laid out. It's as if it's laid out on a silver platter for the prospective foster parents and the trainers. Everything is the way that the training is organized. It's easy to digest. It's easy to read. That's organized in such a way where it's just easy, and it makes, and I feel as a trainer, it helps me to articulate the training in a way that's easy for the participants to understand and digest. It's excellent.
And participants are given a lot of resources too. And if you get through the training and you get home and you're like, "Ugh, I don't remember what they said about that," anybody can access this training online. You can access all the podcasts and the handouts, and all of that is available to anybody to go on and read and hear.
Wow. And this is, I know we're going to get to that, but so this is something that's consistent throughout the whole United States.
Absolutely. This is a nationwide training.
Wow. So what are the components? We talked about the benefits to the caregiver, or what they like. What are the trainers like about will all three of you be doing the training? You'll be training together in the different modules that you'll be doing? So what are the components that the trainers find to be, real helpful for them in teaching others about how to care for kids? Jamie, do you want to?
I think from just the private agency perspective, what I really like about this as a facilitator is taking these topics that can seem really scary and overwhelming and breaking them down into a way that's so digestible for the participant and for the facilitator to be able to really review, go in depth, target certain questions to help potential foster parents have that reflective moment, that insightful moment, and hopefully change their perspective on some of these topics that, again, can be a little bit overwhelming, to really help them feel empowered and be able to conceptualize, how can I as a parent better do this or better serve these kids?
Yeah, that's great. Would you like to add anything?
It's also very flexible, very flexible, adaptable for trainers, because, as you said, NTDC is being used in a variety of states, various states, and every state does things differently. So in Connecticut, we might want to tailor the training to our needs. We might not do it the same way they do it in Massachusetts or Rhode Island, one of our sister states. We have to do it and tailor it to how, what's going on in Connecticut, and to accommodate our audience, for so to speak. That's wonderful. And as we were saying before, being able to do this training easily, both virtually and in person, is key. And though we're still working on the details with that, we know we can do it, which is great for trainers.
Absolutely. And the other thing is, in this training, now we're using updated videos. We're using current research, all of that, things that really sort of needed to be done because of the training that we're using right now has been, parts of it have been used for 10 years.
Yeah, so
or
outdated,
more, maybe.
right.
Yeah,
The
it is a little
relevance.
bit certainly
Right.
the videos that we use right now are often outdated.
Yeah.
And again, the videos in this training are excellent, and really sort of, again, show how it's done, show what it looks like. There are videos that have, birth parents and foster parents working together, so people in the training can really see how that works and how that's best for children.
And how it can work.
Absolutely. And as a QPI champion, this training really aligns itself with the principles of QPI. There's a focus on relationships. There's a focus on sort of normalizing birth parents and foster parent and caregivers working together in the best interests of the children. That reunification piece is also a priority in this training. So it definitely sort of furthers that quality parenting initiative cause.
And the participants, fully understand what our mission is with the children and families that we serve, with the reunification and the QPI. I liked the words that you used with flexibility. I mean, we've come a long way because training hasn't always been flexible. And unfortunately, that has made some families who would have liked to have stepped forward not be able to do that because they have a very, maybe their work schedule or something that is making it difficult, that they have the time and the home and the love to give to one of our kids, but they just can't make the training. So I like that. And I also like how you said that you can, it might be consistent in the basis of what the curriculum is, but how you deliver that is very unique to the presenter. And you have that opportunity to put your own, the three of you and all, the team that you're working with to lay this out, to roll this out. You're able to add your own skills as presenters to this.
Absolutely. I train with Ryan, and he definitely has so much knowledge about the DCF perspective, and what DCF is trying to accomplish with foster care, and how the courts work and all of that kind of stuff. And my piece is what is this like for a foster parent? And what are the things that as a foster parent you face and you deal with, and the rewards that you gain as a foster parent. And then Janet is from the therapeutic foster care perspective. So yeah, and this training, it makes sense to all of us on how to teach it.
And the foster parent perspective is so crucial in the training, because DCF can talk the talk, but it's you're walking that walk every day as a foster parent provider, and they can look at you and say, she could do it, I can do it, and you make that reasonable for our families. For our viewers who may be turning on our television show right now, or a viewer on YouTube, can you spell out what the acronyms are? Say out what the acronyms are of the training. I know we use those so often, but what is the actual name of the training?
The National Training Development Curriculum.
For foster parents.
For foster parents. NTDC.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Anything else to add on that?
Yeah, no, I was just can I talk a little bit about the outcomes?
Yes, absolutely.
From this training, which is again another part, the exciting part about it, is so this training has been proven to families who go through this training are more willing to parent teens in their home. They are more willing to parent children of a different race and culture than their own. They feel more comfortable parenting children with behavioral needs, mental health issues. They have a better understanding of trauma and how it affects children. So there are some proven outcomes from this training. This is again a national training. It was developed nationally with a lot of time and resources put into it, and it has been proven effective.
And that's so powerful.
It is.
Because, as you know, we have more children in care who need homes than we have foster parents to serve them. So this is such an exciting time for our agency and for our private providers as well, and for our foster parents, because as we know, you are our best recruiters. Our foster parents are our best recruiters. I'm sure you want to roll this out as soon as possible.
Yes.
Yeah. What were you going to add, Ryan?
I just want to add that
Each theme in the training is built upon characteristics of successful foster and adoptive parents. So that in and of itself is almost like an incentive for foster parents to get involved, because everything that they're going to be learning has been tried and true. It's based on what successful foster and adoptive parents do. And I have one sitting right next to me who is the manifestation, physical manifestation of what this training is all about, and is trying to get people who want to foster trying to get to that level. And like I said before, it's all laid out and it's based on what works. So it's wonderful.
And honestly, this is the training I wish I had when I was first starting my foster care journey.
Wow. And how many years ago was that again?
16.
16. Wow. And we know that things change, families change, the mental health crisis that we have, and to, adapt with that and have this new training to make the successful outcomes that you measured is so exciting. It's such an exciting time. From the private agency perspective, what do you like about the materials that are being used for the training?
So in the private agencies, we use an evidence-based model in foster care, FFTFC, which stands for Functional Family Therapy Foster Care. The themes in the NTDC model align so nicely with what our evidence-based model teaches our foster parents, specifically around the areas of foster parents being that primary intervention that helps kids heal from trauma. In NTDC, the theme on trauma-informed parenting really emphasizes that for our foster parents. their relationship and their connectedness to that child is what's going to help ultimately heal trauma and help kids overcome whatever they've been through. The section on mental health considerations is another really great one because it helps foster parents understand how to be a part of that treatment team. How do you be an active participant? How do you advocate? How do you collaborate? The mental health theme also touches on not all behaviors that our kids display are necessarily symptoms of mental health. A lot of times our kids are displaying grief behaviors or having trauma responses. So to help potential foster parents understand not everything you're seeing is a mental health issue. Sometimes, yes, and sometimes we do outsource to other providers like a psychiatrist who's going to help with medication. There's a nice section in the mental health theme that models a conversation between a foster parent and a psychiatrist, which I think is really nice because that's another, if you've never experienced working in a relationship like that with a mental health provider, that can be scary and intimidating. So I like that it really gives a realistic example of how does a foster parent have that conversation? What does it really look like when medications are being discussed or tried or prescribed to our kids?
Because it can be intimidating.
Absolutely.
And Jackie, I would be remiss if I, as a racial justice lead, if I didn't mention the cultural aspect, cultural competency aspect of the NTDC training, which is wonderful. I had my doubts about it at first, I got to be honest with you, but after delving into it, it really covers a lot. And what really surprised me is that the training, the cultural competency training, the racial justice training within the NTDC curriculum is in line with DCF's efforts to become an anti-racist agency, a racially just agency, because again, the themes are all based on the characteristics of successful foster and adoptive parents, and in that specific section, it challenges the participants in the training to look at to have self-reflection, adaptability, flexibility, because it can be challenging to foster a child who is of a different race and different culture than the foster parent. And the foster parents have to have tools that help them to do that, to help them to have the courage to be the bridge between a child that's of a different race and culture than them, the bridge for that child to their race and culture. So NTDC is excellent in doing that. I'm looking forward to getting into this training a lot more. So I'm very excited.
And you've excited me. Definitely, this is just so exciting because, like I said, I've been here for so many years and was familiar with the Pride curriculum and then the TIPS MAP program as well. And this is just everything that any family who wanted to help but couldn't was looking for. And, knowing that you are all buying into the concept and you feel so excited given your passion for the agency and your commitment to our children and families, you're definitely making it possible for these families to participate. Can you share a little bit about the measure that you're using to define the success of this program? Or are you still working on those tools?
So the outcomes, is that what you're talking about? Yeah, so basically, again, this is a national program. So there were pilot states. There were 7 pilot states that they started out with. And so they took foster parents who had been through the NTDC curriculum and then foster parents who went through the training that was in place in those states and basically compared them. And that's where they came up with these outcomes through evaluations and self-assessments and just what is happening in their home. And so it's, like, again, proven to be effective.
Ryan, do you feel that was when you said that when you were a little skeptical when you first reviewed it, what brought you around? What made you change your mind, or why were you skeptical at the beginning? Well,
the first thing I thought was, okay, where's the Spanish version of this? And what are we going to be what are we going to be doing in terms of helping people to understand how to really be the bridge and have the courage to foster because foster kids of different races and cultures, because the reality is in Connecticut, most transracial foster homes are white parents caring for kids of color. So I said, where is that language? Where we need to see the language in stronger. And then I started reading. I was like, wow, okay, here we go. This is
answering all those.
This is answering all of the questions. And the fact that now NTDC is actively trying to translate everything into Spanish really brought me over. I said, all right, these guys are legit. We can roll with them.
You bought in.
Yes.
So here we are today.
and they do. I have to say that the curriculum does a great job of that culture and race piece. As one of those white parents who's often parenting children of a different race, it really it talked about the importance of talking about race, and your preconceived, things that you don't even realize that you think.
Judgments you may
judgments
have.
and
Absolutely.
what's it called? Intrinsic bias.
Implicit bias.
Yes. So it really, it does an excellent job of that. And go ahead.
And the last thing I want to say about it is that the training also
respects the fact that some people might not want to foster kids who are a different race and culture than them, and that's okay too.
And there's no judgment.
And there's
there.
no judgment there, so that's okay too.
Right.
It's very inclusive.
Yeah, and again, the I think one of the big pieces too is the working with birth families, the language that they use, the videos, just the how-tos makes that less scary for people. It's such a big part of what we do now in foster care. They talk about foster care is a way to support children and families. And I feel like that is really what foster care should be about and should have always been about, but not always was.
Right.
And again, the QPI is a part of that, but really, again, the support system for families and reunification is the goal.
Yes, no, and we're at the end of our segment, but if you could just tell us what QPI stands for, and just we've had a show that focused on QPI, which was wonderful, and it's really the best thing that can possibly happen for a child in the family is to have this model. But can you just talk very briefly about that?
Yes, QPI is the Quality Parenting Initiative, and it's a nationwide movement to reform the foster care system to make it more better for kids, put kids at the center of everything we do in foster care, make foster care more relationship based. Again, make this teamwork model of foster parents and birth families and the DCF system and the court system all working together to do what's best for children. And that's, sort of like the basics. There's way more to it.
I know.
Again, a whole nother show.
It is. It's a whole nother show. But thank you for being a champion for our QPI work. So before we end, tell me when you think this is going to roll out?
If God willing and the creek don't rise, as they say, hopefully in the fall.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's exciting. So this ends our show. I told you it would go by fast. We have so much more to say. But to our viewers who are watching, thank you so much for tuning in today and learning about the new upcoming foster parent training, and that will be hopefully in the fall. And if you're interested in being a foster parent, please call 1-888-KID-HERO or visit the website that is on the screen. Thank you again for watching.
Sometimes life just happens. Don't worry. Farmington Motorsports will get you back on the road and at a fair price. From towing to tires, emissions to transmissions.
Our ASC certified techs do it all.
Farmington Motorsports is a family-run business. We're a Napa Auto Center and AAA approved. We work on all makes and models from preventative maintenance to major repairs.
And every repair is backed by our 2-year, 24,000-mile nationwide warranty.
When life happens to you, don't worry. Farmington Motorsports.